Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Maine Pageant place. Today, we have the honor of sitting down with Jennifer Wallach. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're very excited to have you here.
Thank you.
So let's just jump right in. Let's just learn a little bit about your earlier life before we kind of dive into what you've been exploring lately.
Sure. I was actually born on an Air Force base in the Philippines, so I'm a dual citizen. I have citizenship in the Philippines and here in the US. Lived there for a few years, but spent most of my childhood and early adulthood in Pittsburgh. I went to high school and college there, graduated with a degree in nursing, went to work at a major level 1 trauma hospital, worked in the operating room and emergency room there, met my husband who was a resident, and we fell in love in the operating room. Very general hospital sort of story. And left after he finished his residency, moved to New York where we started our family, and shortly after 9/11 decided to leave New York and came to Maine.
Amazing. I feel like as, somebody that could work in a trauma room, there's probably nothing life can throw you that you can't somehow muckle through or prepare for.
Well, it definitely prepares you. It really gave me the gift of treasuring and valuing every day, just seeing how quickly things can change and how important your health is. So just giving me that perspective really was very important and still is a incredible gift to me.
Absolutely. That's like a beacon for others.
Mhm.
And I love that you've had sort of a career shift maybe
Mhm.
since then. So let us know a little bit about what your focus is these days.
Sure. So I have raised our 4 children. My children are 23, 21, 19, and 16 now. And actually, none of them are living at home anymore. And just about 2020, during the height of COVID, the worst time to start a business, I decided to start my own business and went into etiquette. My grandmother was a very big part of my life. She raised me teaching the values of etiquette all through my childhood. And I knew it was something I wanted to pursue. I was just waiting for the right time, waiting for my kids to kind of move on and my life to free up a little bit. So when I got the opportunity, I became certified in children's and corporate etiquette. And I did military protocol, international protocol. And I've even been lucky enough to study in London with the English manner, studied afternoon tea, the art of afternoon tea at the Ritz there with a man named William Hanson and his crew, which are just incredible mentors to me, have worked for the royal family and taught me so much about etiquette and protocol.
Wow. Well, I'll say that's how I first kind of noticed you was through your etiquette and your teachings. And I feel like as someone who grew up in a home that didn't have a lot of background in that and didn't really understand how to maybe navigate the world in some really basic ways, I really appreciated how you break things down so simply for people because
Thank
I think sometimes that's just what we need. And also, I feel like Maine is really lucky that you've ended up here and decided to put down some roots.
Thank you.
After watching you enroll in your first pageant, I knew for sure that you were somebody I was rooting for and watching. So tell me a little bit about what brought you into pageantry.
Well, I lived down the street from Deb Pronovost for years when I first moved to Maine. She was the director of the Mrs. Maine America program for many, many years and was very successful with that program. And I saw her when she was crowned Mrs. Maine America. And I just admired what she was doing in the community and with her family. And I thought, oh, I would love to do that someday. But the time just wasn't right for me. My husband is so busy at work with the 4 kids. I just could not take that on personally at that moment. So I waited, eventually reached back out to her. And when I spoke to her, I knew that it was my time. I think we just know that it's time for us to reconnect with something. We want something out of our lives. Maybe we can't quite put our finger on it, but we know that there's something out there for us. And I think pageantry, because of its endless opportunities, is an incredible way for a woman to figure that out. For me, it was really connecting my etiquette with the community. And how was I going to do that? And having a platform really helped me focus in on what I wanted to do and how what I do professionally could also serve my state and my city and county.
Mm. So I know that this was your first pageant experience ever, and you were fortunate enough to take home that state title. Tell me a little bit more. Does your pageant have a nationals associated to it?
We do. It's so exciting. In the middle to late August, I'll be headed to Las Vegas for the first time ever to compete at the Westgate Resort for the title of Mrs. America. And we have the same phases of competition. So we have swimsuit, evening gown, and we have interview, but we also have a costume component to our competition. And it's about 8 or 9 days long out there. We have a roommate, so we'll share a room with another woman from another state and just get to know everyone over that 8 days.
Is there something within the scheduling or what you'll experience while out in Vegas for the first time at nationals that you're looking forward to the most?
Believe it or not, I am looking forward to having a roommate for the week. I think it'll be a unique experience, but I always had so much fun slumber parties and hanging out with my girlfriends. And I think sometimes as we get older, we start to miss those relationships with other women that are more just good, fun friends, staying up, watching movies, hanging out, talking. So I'm really excited to just make some friends.
I'm so excited that you'll get to indulge in that and get
Thank you.
a nice long while out in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So, with most pageants, there's some sort of platform or something you have to run on that's really special that you care about that kind of propels you forward with success. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about your platform in depth?
Sure. My platform is called the First 7 Seconds. So I've created a workbook and I also do a workshop teaching people how to make a positive and powerful first impression. I use etiquette tools to teach people the social skills that they need. So when they go out to get a job or go back to school or even just make friends and develop relationships, they have the social skills that they need to do that very well. And I have worked with the women at the Macaulay residence. These women are in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction, and they are restarting their lives with their children in tow. So basically, I'll go in and I'll do workshops for them on attire, how to shake hands with people, how to look someone in the eye, basic interview skills, things like that. And I also work with the women at In Her Presence. They're asylum seeking women from all over the world. So there we talk about maybe some cultural differences, how in America it is very typical and the expectation is that you look someone in the eyes when you're talking to them. In some of their home countries, it's not. It's seen as disrespectful. But when they go out to get that job here, they need to be equipped with that knowledge so that they can put this into practice and set themselves up for success in the US.
That is really wonderful. We're so lucky to have those connections here that you're building upon.
Thank you.
So, I also saw on your resume you had some great awards and accolades. Is there one that means more than not to you that you want to highlight?
Well, at the state pageant, I did win evening gown, swim, and interview. I won marriage longevity. So that is one I have to say was earned. However, I think that interview really was the most important to me because I teach these skills. I really wanted to put my best foot forward out there at our state pageant interview and just show women that this is a teachable skill set that you can learn to be confident in a room speaking to someone else. And that was just really important to me and really touched me to win that.
Yeah, that's a huge award. I learned very quickly that if you don't really win or come in second in interview, the rest kind of doesn't matter to a degree. So it's really huge to be able to capture that right in your first pageant. What an accomplishment.
Thank you.
So tell me, Jennifer, in a world that kind of prefers conformity, how do you lead with authenticity?
I love this question because as an etiquette instructor, I'm often teaching conformity, right? So I'm teaching people what cultural norms are or what behavioral standards are, what the norms are in social skills. But what I try to do with people is tell them always to find their own social superpower. So for some people, it's a gorgeous smile. We all notice someone's smile. For someone else, it might be a really strong, firm, wonderful handshake. For other people, it can be their ability to be an active listener. So really just finding their superpower, their skills, and what they are comfortable projecting out into their world is really the most important part of etiquette. And then obviously being kind and respectful, which we can all do.
I love that interpersonal reflection with that answer. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
So, are there any upcoming events or things around the community that you'd like to highlight?
Sure. Well, yesterday I was in Augusta. I got to meet with Senator Teresa Pierce and our rep, Amy Kuhn, which was wonderful just to be recognized by my town for this accomplishment and have the Mrs. Maine America system recognized was really special and important. We have the Travis Mills 5K coming up. I'll be involved in the Barbara Bush golf event out at Falmouth Country Club in June, which I believe is called the Golf for Kids event, FORE. And summer is just full of parades, and we've got nationals in the middle of August. So it's going to be a busy, busy summer.
So, as you prepare for nationals, can you kind of identify the difference between what that looks like versus gearing up for state's pageant?
Sure. I think it's really the scale. So, Maine being a 2-day pageant versus being out in Las Vegas, we will be there for about 8 days. So, the first and most important part of that is probably wardrobe. So, planning wardrobe for a weekend is manageable. Planning wardrobe for 8 days is a lot bigger task. I have 5 gowns. I have 5 days of rehearsal, plus a couple excursions and outings and other events. We've got the Miss part of our pageant, and we've got the Mrs. American competition. So we will need gowns for all of those as well. And really, it's going in without all of your regular support around you. So I will be out there for probably 5 days without my family, friends, just new faces. I think I'll know my hair and makeup, which is amazing, but just a lot of meeting new people. So there's pros and cons to that, right? There's having your support there, but then there's also the pro of just meeting a ton of new people and having new experiences.
I love that. I think as a busy working mom and wife, it's probably nice to just get that disconnect and focus on something that's just a passion of yours.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give a new pageant queenie or somebody on the fence about joining a pageant some advice, what would that be?
I think the first thing I would tell someone is start early. When they open that registration for local, regional titles, whatever it is, I would say start then. Get in there early. Let yourself have that full year to prepare, to build your platform, to hone your interview skills, to plan your wardrobe. I've been doing a lot of wardrobe planning. It can take 5-6 months to get a custom piece of wardrobe right now. If you're going to get a custom gown or even something that's not custom, you really need 3 to 6 months just to get your wardrobe. But the platform and the interview prep, all of that, really, if you give yourself a full year, that's the best approach.
So, Jennifer, let our followers know where they can find you on social media and keep up with you and support you through this next step at nationals.
Sure. My Instagram is at Jennifer Wallach. So at JenniferWahlig.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you.